America, sorry, Africa is home to some sit-tight rulers like Yoweri Museveni of Uganda, Paul Biya of Cameroon, and others who want to remain in office until death. Uh, so, even in Nigeria, despite the health failures of Muhammadu Buhari, he pressed on for 8 solid years, even doubled himself as the petroleum minister, to the extent that even when he was on admission, on health admission in London, the chairman of Nigeria's National Petroleum Corporation Limited was going to consult him rather than his deputy or the petroleum minister of state, who was who was like a deputy to Buhari as the minister of petroleum, doubling as the president. We don't know whether the extent to which Nigeria's law permits it, or whether the legislature and the judiciary compromised. So, Nigeria is full of illegalities. Although the Constitution expressly forbids state religion, the rulers are imposing Islam and Christianity on the nation to be funding pilgrimage boards and even subsidizing pilgrimages to make the pilgrims comfortable. Despite that, the law of Islam makes it compulsory, the Hajj compulsory only for those who can afford it. And Christians don't have any such religious law, but to get even with Muslims. But of course, our concern is that Nigeria, despite her constitution prohibiting state religion, Nigeria's rulers are politicizing Islam and Christianity at the expense of Nigeria. Now, back to the issue of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the possibility that he will seek re-election rather than saying, as Nelson Mandela of South Africa said, "No, I will not seek re-election. Let a younger person take over." Despite being persuaded to continue, he turned it down. He will not be a sit-tight ruler, one who will not mind dying in office. So, and that means consideration for the nation, for the health and progress, well running or good running of the nation. But of course, who cares about Nigeria's well-being? Umaru Musa Yar'Adua who imposed war against the Boko Haram Muslim community on Nigeria. Goodluck Ebele Azikiwe Jonathan, who perpetrated the war, squandered his entire 4 years on fighting Boko Haram. Most bloody, second, no, at par with that of Muhammadu Buhari. Is it? And even now, the war is still sustained by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the fourth president of Nigeria to be fighting the Boko Haram Muslim community as a war, bedeviling the nation. So, love of power led Tinubu to insist on becoming the president in the first instance. It is my turn. Turn by turn presidency of Nigeria, coupled with Muslim presidency of Nigeria. If anything can be more ridiculous. So President Tinubu does not look like President Nelson Mandela of blessed memory, a great mind, a great spirit, who did not think that becoming or remaining the president or life president is ticket to heaven. But if we think about it, do sit-tight rulers think of heaven? Do they even think of death? So, let alone consideration for the nation, well-being of the nation, good running of the nation. So, that is where we are. But, of course, 70 years is the maximum retirement age for civil servants. How a whole president can be older than 70 and be welcome, based on the American presidential model. Because Joe Biden, the immediate past president of America, was like forced out of seeking the election. Real embarrassment, as a matter of fact, because this was a man already calling black white, white black, due to age, due to partial loss of memory. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, even before becoming the president, could not sustain 2 hours of meeting without sleeping, without dozing off. Yet he pushed on. Muhammadu Buhari pushed on for 8 years despite his failing health. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will tell you that he is going for working visit to France without explaining the working visit. Even when you are free to suspect that he went for medical checkup or medical attention. So, but whether Joe Biden didn't like it, but still, he was told, we will not back your re-election. And he gracefully stepped down, if only because he was told point blank, we will not support your re-election. And he backed out. Will Tinubu back out? Does he care what becomes of Nigeria? How can somebody who says all subsidies are gone and claiming to be transferring funds to indigent households, even while paying workers less than living wage. So Nigerians are not to expect Bola Ahmed Tinubu to voluntarily say he will not seek re-election like Nelson Mandela, but to prepare to tell him, as Americans told Joe Biden, enough is enough at your age and level of performance in office, because the nation is worse in security and the economy than you inherited her. Simple. And of course, he said that if he failed to give Nigeria electricity, he should not be granted re-election. And he has not given Nigeria electricity, neither pervasive nor stable.